Well, it's a new year.
It's a new school year.
And we're going to start by touching base on our summer reading.
What were you scheduled to read this summer?
So I was scheduled to read A Face for Picasso.
Right.
And it's twin sisters who underwent just a numerous amount of reconstructive surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started that when I was working summer school. And it got to, she started to describe some of the surgeries, not into like gory detail, but just some of the things. And there's a reason was no longer a nursing major in college. It just...
You started as a nursing major?
I did start as a nursing major.
Interesting.
So that obviously changed, and there's a reason for that. And so it got to that point, and I kind of had to put the book down for a second just to collect myself.
And a second.
And then a second turned into the rest of the summer. So I did not finish that. I do think I'll pick it back up, but I got into reading other things that I read just for my personal enjoyment at home that aren't like necessarily young adult. It's family stuff. It's motherhood and things like that. So I didn't get mine done.
But you did read.
I did read, yes, just not the book that I committed to for
that's
Overdue.
okay.
So what about you?
I can't try to make you feel bad because I didn't read. I had said I was going to read Cloud Cuckoo Land by Anthony Doerr. It was going to be a reread for me.
Yeah.
Up there, if not at the top of my favorite books list. I think I started reading it before we went home for summer.
Yep.
And that's it. Unlike you, I didn't read anything else. I wasn't reading YA. It's very much an adult book, and I just didn't read it.
That's all right.
It's
not for a grade.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
So we'll talk at the end in the last segment about what we're going to read now that we're back in school. But first, we got some pretty big changes. We talked about some of them at the end of last school year, but we have some pretty big changes here at school with the libraries. Most notably the fact that there's no longer an annex library.
Right.
That's now the White House Learning Lab, designed for guest speakers, Socratic seminars, group space, things of that nature.
Yeah,
presentations, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And we've kind of focused our efforts.
Joined efforts.
Yeah, down here in the main building, turned it into no longer the main building library, but just the library.
The one BDP library.
And I would say a week and a half into school here, it seems like it was the right move already.
Absolutely.
It seems like even though we have one facility now, that there's more work to do. And it just
how it's going.
Seems like it was the right move at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. So. I'm excited to see how it plays out for the rest of the school year. I think it'll be really good, and I think it'll. I think the Learning Lab will benefit the school. Also, it having its own purpose, identity, space, and really being able to lean into those two individual spaces as individual spaces. Yeah. It'll be good.
And then, so one of the things that we're doing now, and I'll let you talk about it because it was your genius idea.
Oh, so genius.
But I'm serious. I think it was one of your better ones.
Thanks. Few and far between.
No, but we've let some BDPs sign up and come in, and I don't know if makerspace is truly the right word. It kind of is. I guess if you're playing checkers, it's not really a makerspace.
It's true.
But why don't you elaborate on what we have going on during our skinny block, our BDP?
Yes. So we took our skinny block, which is often just a study hall, and invited teachers to bring their classes in to use some of the resources that we've been purchasing for students. In the library world, there's kind of a trend of having games, puzzles, manipulatives, things like origami, calligraphy, things like that, where students can just come enjoy the space, be kids, and pursue maybe their interests or just hobbies, things like that. We had been purchasing those kinds of things over the last couple of years, but hadn't found a really good time for students to come and use it. High school students are busy. They have things
just
before
not time,
school,
right.
after school.
You like to think in an ideal world, someone's going to come in before or stay late.
Right.
But it just doesn't.
It just
doesn't. And there's no time during the day.
No. Our teachers use their class time, and as they should. So this was an opportunity to bring in students and allow them to try something new, enjoy playing a game with a friend, and enjoy the library space and help us build relationships that we don't always get the chance to do. So, we've had
two classes in so far.
2 classes in, and I'm excited to see how the rest of the classes go.
Yeah, we put just some short clips and pictures on our Instagram, BDP_library. You can check those out, kind of see some things,
it is fun
some cool
to see
stuff
how
that's
the
been
kids
going on. Yeah,
think outside of the classroom.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun to just see they're smart and they are. It's just cool. It's cool to watch them.
I think another big thing that we'll have going on is this space that we're in right now, our podcast studio. If you're watching on YouTube, you can kind of see it. If you're not subscribed to us on YouTube, check us out. Also at BDP_library on YouTube. You can give us a subscribe. But we have we ended the year in here last year. Yep. And we just still need to kind of make over the space. We've got this nice little round table that I think is going to work out for us.
Yeah, it should.
But we need to paint the walls and get some other stuff that you can't see. Get the foam sound things up. I don't know what those are called. But those things that
soundproof
that are good for acoustics and get our setup with our video a little bit. I got to figure out the one iPad. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, you just see both of us right now chatting back and forth. But usually we've got an iPad over here and an iPad over here. So when each of us are talking about our books and we're kind of talking maybe in a little bit more long form than we normally would, we can have your full attention, focus in on the one. And one of the iPads just is being a little weird right now.
That's
so
all right.
I got to figure that out still. But what I'm getting at is hopefully within the next month or so,
this space will look
a little bit more professional. And because right now it feels like we're in like a forgotten closet.
Yeah, that's all right.
But that's okay. Our mic stands, our booms don't really work with this round table. I like the round table. Do you like the table? This is our first time with the table.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I realize it's kind of a small, maybe insignificant detail, but I like it. But right now you have a cheap plastic stand on 3 old encyclopedias.
In some ways, it's appropriate.
Sure. I mean, mine's propped up on a book display holder, also on 3 encyclopedia books. So
listen, no one was checking these books out, so we're just repurposing. That's a trend, isn't it?
Yeah. So just some changes that need to be made in here, some finishing touches, and hopefully before too long, this space will be pretty cool.
It will.
We can get that going again. But I think those are anything else that you can think of.
We've already had a lot of classes.
We've had a lot of book previews already, classes coming and getting books. I was with Miss Watson's class yesterday doing APA, getting ready for her current events.
And then we're getting ready to process all the books that we purchased.
We bought that'll be fun. Yes, we bought a ton of books, actually.
We did. We've got a lot to get out to our students, so I'm excited.
We've been so focused on the BDP Makerspace time that, once we get a second to breathe, we've been doing textbooks. Once we get a second to breathe, we can sit down and cover those books. I'll be recording that, doing a time lapse on our YouTube. You
can see what's coming out.
The bell in this studio is really loud. Normally I edit that out. I'm just going to leave that one for this first one of the year because why not?
Why not?
Why not?